Welcome to another live stream with me, Christian Rauchenwald, on this rainy Wednesday afternoon. Today, as mentioned, as you heard already by me moving the box, we're going to unbox some smart devices for Helium Network or the use Helium Network. We're going to talk a little bit about Helium Network. We're going to talk about potential use cases for Helium Network. And yeah, as you may have noticed, the chat is set to subscribers only. So if you want to ask me something in this stream or in any future stream, you have to be subscribed to the channel, since it doesn't cost you something, or since subscribing doesn't cost you anything, but helps me grow the channel. Yeah, it's the least you can do if you want to occupy or take advantage of my time and expertise. That said, as always, the usual disclaimer: everything that I share in this live stream / video, if you watch it later, is my personal opinion and in no way financial professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Now, we do not have a time limit for this stream, so I'm not going to start a timer, but I'll try to keep it as short and concise as possible. And the last thing I'm going to do is actually just turn on the LEDs in the background for a little bit of color. And yeah, now one important disclaimer as well: you should see a card somewhere that says promotional content or so, and that is because if I press this button, HeliumMart.com is the company that was kind enough to provide me with this box of sensors. It's pretty much what they have as a limited time offer sale here. If you go to IoT devices, I think is the right direction. And then there is the starter kit, which consists of, by default, one air quality CO2 sensor, one leak detection sensor, one motion detector sensor, and one open-close sensor. And you can adjust the quantity for all those things. Plus, you can also get your own object locators that are similar to Apple AirTags. However, obviously, they would work somewhere where there is LoRaWAN coverage, so where there is like a helium hotspot in a reasonable distance, so it can be, can be more than 10 kilometers away theoretically, yeah. So it doesn't require an iPhone with internet or some other Apple device nearby to provide you with location data. Yeah, that already brings me, before we actually do the unboxing, to one of the issues. So Histo, the owner or CEO of HeliumMart.com, is one of our, I would say at least acquaintances. And we've been talking about Helium Network a lot. We also have a live stream scheduled with him in, I think, a week or two from now, where you can basically ask him anything. And if you're into Helium Network or considering to getting into Helium Network, that's definitely an event you do not want to miss, because he himself operates around 600 to 800 hotspots with his company. So he definitely can provide you with a lot of answers regarding Helium Network. And one of the topics that we covered was like, okay, all those IoT devices that we are going to unbox now. Basically, why would I need that? For example, I just mentioned that I just turned on the LEDs there in the background. I'm going to switch to the chat scene for that real quick. So, so I just mentioned I just turned on those LEDs, and they're obviously connected via Wi-Fi. Yeah, and then we also in our home, so as part of the effort to save, to save costs, have, for example, smart thermostats, so that when we leave the apartment, the heaters get turned down. When we go to bed, the heaters get turned down. When we get up, the heater, or before we actually wake up in the bathroom, kitchen, and so on, the heaters already get turned up, so that when we get out of bed, it's already warm in the apartment. But when we're not here or when we're sleeping, we're not wasting energy. And a few other things, like some of the smart lights and like air quality sensors, then a dehumidifier that is smart control, and all of that obviously works through Wi-Fi, because in the apartment we have Wi-Fi. So I actually, for a long time, was thinking about, and is there, for home personal use, is there any situation where I would actually need helium devices? And that actually hit me, because we're living in an apartment, which means we also have a small basement room or storage area down there, but that is not connected in any way with our apartment, and where there is no Wi-Fi signal down there that would be strong enough to provide enough coverage to, for example, have a door open close sensor down there to get notified when our basement door opens, because in that basement we obviously store like, I don't know, like spare computer screens that we're not using anymore and other hardware, whatever, a set of tires for our car and so on. So it would obviously be a decent target for somebody to break in, because usually there's nobody in the basement. So if they manage to get through the front door, maybe by just ringing at one of the neighbors, and then the basement rooms don't have like security locks or anything like that, so they could then in peace just act like they own the place and basically clean out our basement and walk away with, yeah, like goods that they can easily sell on eBay or something like that. And yeah, like, so there are basically some of the sensors come into play. The same thing applies with water damage. Well, in the apartment, I'm not super worried about that because we are at home most of the time since we work from home, and therefore when we go on a vacation we turn off the main valves, and so we don't have to worry about that. So if there would be a water leak and so on, we would notice it fairly quickly. So, and then we have insurance for that, so it's like not really a bad thing. But what about, again, the basement? Again, we have like not high-end technology stored there, but there's still components down there that are sensible to water and yeah, like have a decent value. So again, like using some HomeKit device or so simply wouldn't work and wouldn't, yeah, like I just couldn't get it connected. I would have to, I don't know, like, yeah, use, yeah, I honestly don't know how I would do it, but Helium Network actually offers the solution because our basement is not underground in that sense, yeah. So it's all, I don't have to worry if the Helium Network signal will go there or not. So using the leak detection sensor that should be in that box, and the yeah, maybe not the motion detector, but the open close sensor should allow me to set up something where I get notified in some way that if somebody opens the door downstairs and I know it's not me or Irina, then I should probably go check or even call the police. And or if there's some water leak, and the water leak doesn't have to be in our area of the basement, but it could be somewhere else in the basement and then just floods our room as well, which again just is a way to prevent damages and having to deal with insurance to get things reimbursed, and then you only get the time value of the thing reimbursed, even though it has actually higher value to you and whatnot, yeah. Yeah, so hi Orange Sen, hi Akashi, great to have you here. But yeah, so that's why now we're gonna look at the unboxing. And actually, before we do that, a few more things. So because I was thinking about what the hell can I use Helium Network for, because the idea is great. There's like this low bandwidth, long range network coverage thing out there, which means you cannot stream movies through it because it's like low bandwidth, so not huge amounts of data. Like, where could it be used? Now, obviously, and I did some research and I found a few things. Like, obviously, one of the potential use cases would be, for example, wildlife monitoring. So where you have sensors that measure whatever it is, body temperature, whatever it is, or just the position of like some endangered animals. And then you don't need like receiver every 100 meters on a tree, but you basically would need one hotspot on the top of the mountain or so, and it would more or less cover the whole mountain, or like a radius of like 10, 20, 30, 50 kilometers. And you would be able to basically know where that animal is or if it's healthy or not and so on, and have an easy time. The same obviously goes with like fire detection. If we talk about the United States, where they have wildfires and so on from time to time in certain areas, well, you could have sensors for that deployed in the woods that are then using little energy, battery or maybe solar powered, and then you have hotspots that are kilometers away that basically receive the signal and would alert the fire department early, hey, there is a fire, not just when it then is basically, yeah, when you basically can see it next to your house. Yeah, disaster management, early warning systems in general. So it doesn't matter if we talk about like, I don't know, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, especially in remote areas. Helium Network with the long range of LoRaWAN actually would be a great solution there. Now, moving on, if we talk about everyday life and ordering stuff from Amazon or heliummart.com, yeah, tracking your packages, which, yes, you could throw an AirTag in the package, but then whoever drives the delivery truck would get notified that an AirTag is following them. Whereas with the LoRaWAN sensor, yeah, like you could also throw something like that in. So the object locator that we saw a minute ago on the website, and basically know where the package is. So the package cannot get lost anymore. which is really, really great. And again, unlike Apple AirTags, it does not require that some Apple device with Bluetooth or whatever is nearby to provide the location data, because the device itself provides the location data, and you don't need a hotspot 50 meters, 20 meters close by, but it can be 10, 20 kilometers far away. So as long as there is coverage, yeah, which is obviously great. Now, on top of that, if we talk about supply chain, it could also be, you could have a temperature sensor in some package. Maybe you're shipping goods that are supposed to be cooled, and maybe you do that by having dry ice in the box and the package is relatively sealed or so. And then you could have a temperature sensor that uses LoRaWAN through the Helium network to basically report the conditions of the package. The same would go for delivery trucks and a million other things, yeah. And obviously, there are a lot of other potential use cases like environmental protection. So having, I don't know, air quality sensor, water quality sensor, pollution sensors, whatever, deployed in remoter areas. Yeah. So obviously there are situations where you would have a Wi-Fi nearby that you could use potentially. So if we're talking in the city, or where it might even be your Wi-Fi. But if we talk on the bigger scale, well, then LoRaWAN is a great solution, and Helium Network actually provides the coverage, not in every corner of the world yet, but if we actually switch to the desktop again, so Explorer Helium.com should be the right address. And we look at the Helium Explorer, we can see that there are currently close to 1 million hotspots. Like when I originally signed up and got our first hotspot, there were like, or ordered the first hotspot, there were like 90,000. Now we do not see, why do we not see the nice, yeah, no, don't need that right now. Don't want that, so I'm gonna refresh. Why do we see the, maybe they changed it for faster loading, or maybe I'm missing something. Earnings, 5G, transmit scales. Transmit scale. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. Do we at some point get the usual? There we get it. So yeah, so that's the hotspot density. Obviously, there are still areas that are not covered. Yeah. So, but every dense populated area and even remote areas are usually covered reasonably well. Now I'm gonna pick a random hotspot here that is somewhere. Here's Nevada. So I'll actually pick that one here. So we go here to that grid where it says Nevada. And we select that hotspot, and with some luck, depending on how it's positioned and so on, okay, that one is inactive. That was really bad choice here. Let's go here, pick another one, and that one is also inactive or not, like really, really bad if we pick just inactive ones. Yeah, that's really, really a pity. But they seem to be relatively remote. So let's, Blake Mountain, what do you have for me? Was it Blake Mountain? So that looks like a small village. Also inactive. Okay, like that's really gonna be a bad pattern here. Let's go here. That one is completely offline. Okay, that's also worse. Yeah, so okay, in this area apparently we have a bunch of offline and inactive hotspots. Let's try our luck here. That's also inactive. Okay, and moving on. Come on. Also, okay, let's switch this to show earnings. And then blue would be better, so which means that either that should be a color of earnings, so this is a color of inactive. That's a color of inactive probably, yeah, but there is one, yeah. So, no, also inactive. Oh my God, like that's a really, really bad pattern. Although we see, why are there so many inactive hotspots there in that area? Okay, we'll pick another area. Like I actually wanted to on purpose pick something relatively remote. So that one is green. Green seems good. Then good seems, let's see. So that one here is active. And okay, yeah, like it doesn't have the reach that I was hoping for, but we can see here, if we look down there, that roughly 1, 2, 3, 4 of the cursor widths equal 1 kilometer. So we're talking here about like, I don't know, like let's say 4 or 5 kilometer range. So this hotspot here is able to hear the signal of this hotspot over 5 kilometers, and that's by far not one of the greatest or good ones. Can we by chance maybe get lucky on something that's a little remoter and potentially not in a valley? let's try this one. Yeah, also not super high range. Yeah, like basically, if you play around on the Helium Explorer and check some of the hotspots, you will eventually discover some that really cover relatively huge ranges, simply because they are positioned well and set up properly. And yeah, so which means there is a decent coverage of Helium hotspots. If we look in Europe for a second, so you see that England is covered in hotspots. There shouldn't be many areas where there is no coverage at all. And here, if it loads, you can see most of Europe is also lighting up and basically cluttered with hotspots. If we, where do we have Germany here? Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Augsburg. So, okay, so here we have Munich. If we pick, I don't know, let's pick something that's green down here. So there it seems to be green. That one here. Yeah, also not super high reach, but still covering a lot of kilometers. So we can see that it changes here, that's basically, yeah, it's also 6 kilometers range or so. And if we, again, I'm just really picking them randomly right now. So I did not look up hotspots to look before to show you like the best, about probably 20 kilometers range. So that hotspot here is able to hear signals from those here. So that hotspot really seems to have great coverage, at least in one direction. Might be using a directional antenna, or simply might be that the hotspots that are behind it are not optimized, or yeah, like set up really badly. But yeah, driving the point home, Helium Network, most of the world is already covered. Obviously still areas that are not, which means now we say, okay, we're gonna ditch the SIM card slots in our device and start using Helium or LoRaWAN instead, when there was no coverage. Now that there is coverage, it makes sense for manufacturers to slowly adapt, which means to slowly start to require, however, you to buy and burn Helium tokens. However, for users of data credits, that's actually a very straightforward process, because they can just pay with their credit card, and that buys Helium token or Helium coins, burns them, and gets you the data credits. So without you actually having to do any of that. Yeah. Now, looking at the value of Helium, I mean, $1.47 seems like it's not that bad. But if we look back, during the last bull run, we were actually already at the $50 mark. So it had a huge decline in value. And a lot of people are obviously probably bearish by now. I mean, we can see that. Yeah, like if we look on CoinMarketCap, there is still a reasonable number of bullish people. Yeah, but there are still people complaining that the miners don't make them rich anymore and so on. Yeah, but still, the coverage is now there. There's a ton of hotspots that are still online and working, providing that coverage. And with that, IoT device manufacturers, like in that case, the package that we got that contains the MerryIot IoT devices, should more and more jump onto that whole thing. By the way, if you decide to go with the starter kit from Helium that is available, as you can see, for EU frequencies and US frequencies, that you can configure the way you want, you also get a free BroWAN hotspot. And that hotspot then will support multi-mining, which means, jumping there a little bit off topic real quick, that means that you can, on that hotspot, and in the future, potentially, depending on which of those features will be integrated, also run Earn App, Draft Monetizer, Honeygain, Mysterium Network, Pawns App, to actually earn more than just Helium from that hotspot. So not only are you able to set up some in quote smart devices, so like the leak detection, motion detection, air quality, and so on sensors, to basically get some information about what's going on in your garage, I don't know, like cabin in the woods, basement, like we do, but you will also be able to operate your own Helium Network hotspot. We just recently did actually an unboxing of that exact model, and you will be able to then, as said, like also earn Helium tokens yourself and contribute to the coverage of Helium Network. Yeah. That said, we'll actually jump to the unboxing part. For that, I'm going to switch to my desk cam and quickly take a sip. So much talking, need to drink something in between. And here we have the magic box. Just going to move the keyboard and the mouse a little. And yeah, like we're just going to open it up. And that magic box actually contains other boxes that are unopened. So we have the motion detector here. as you can see, MerryIot motion detector that we don't necessarily need. In our use case, yeah, we have the MerryIot leak detector here. We have the MerryIot open-close sensor here. And last but not least, we have the MerryIot air quality CO2 sensor here. And then last but not least, we have a bunch of actually nice looking Building D People's Network stickers from Helium Network on top. So which means we can put that box aside and the stickers also aside for now. And then let's start with what we actually need. And what we need is definitely the leak detector. So we're gonna cut open that thing down here and open it up. And it's very, very, like that's what's in the box. And there is also a booklet the way it looks. So can I get that out? Or is it just the bottom layer? Is that just the bottom layer or is that a booklet? I don't want to take the whole box apart here, but I might end up doing exactly that, Okay, maybe it's not a booklet because it does not come out. So it might be just, like some bottom layer so the box looks nice. But that's the whole sensor. Now what we need for that, and I hope I have it set up still, we need that magic button here. That takes us there, and then I need to toggle the cam that we still have the desk cam. So you guys can now see my phone screen, and here we need, I'm not sure if I already installed it, the MerryIot app, So anyway, you can see the phone screen now on the left, and I have not set up anything here yet, so it's gonna be like first, but basically it works by probably using the QR code. And while I'm waiting for whatever is loading on the phone, we're actually going to unbox the rest real quick. So we have that one here and the motion detection sensor that has a screw and a pair of batteries delivered as well. So you could actually, as you can see, you can actually basically use that thing here, put it in the wall, screw, to then hook the motion detector sensor on the wall. And other than that, you have to open that screw to, or that back pocket here, to put in the batteries into that thing. And then there is also adhesive tape. So you could actually just tape it somewhere if you don't wanna or cannot screw things somewhere. I'm gonna put that, let's see, let's put that here. That goes here. The app did something, product, okay, that's not what I want. Don't need a pin, FAQ. We also don't want to set up a hotspot. What are the benefits? How many sensors should I pay? Where to buy? Okay, that really does not help me right now. Anyway, looking at, okay, that one is already open. That's the open and close sensor. Similar principle, just different battery. So we have the 3M adhesive tape. We have the counterpart of the sensor. So basically that thing should be somewhere either here. So I'm sure there's some markings somewhere that I'm like missing right now. You put that on one side of your door window and that on the other, so that when then the window opens or the door opens, the contact is removed and therefore you can then get a notification. It uses those small batteries that are like really weird because they're pretty much half a regular battery, but it is what it is. So that goes here for now. And then we have the CO2 air quality sensor. So that also looks similar. So, and also comes with 2 regular batteries in this case, but also and also adhesive tape. There we go. Okay, and that one can then go here. Now let's check. So we do not want to set up a hotspot because we already have a hotspot, or actually multiple hotspots. Now products is not the solution. That is not the solution. So let's just try to scan the QR code of the sensor and see where it takes us. It does not, oh, now it's scanned it. Okay, no usable data found. Okay, then we're gonna quickly ask, ask Google, desktop screen. Sorry for that. I actually thought, let's check motion detector, leak detection, see more. I actually thought there would be a booklet inside or something to scan. To be fair, when I get those boxes from Helium, then they are usually from heliumart.com, then they are usually not exactly matching what a user get, but yeah, user manual, there we go. So at least it's on the website. So MerryIot, reference, description, operation, messages. Is there something about installation mode, operation? Okay. Users need to press the button to activate operation into installation. When the sensor tries to join a network, it will keep, once the sensor joins the network. Okay, I think what we need is an account on the Helium console. So, and for that, I need to open my password manager. Probably a typo. Okay, there we go. That should be it. Yeah. So Helium console foundation. Submit your email address to receive a login. Okay. Oh, I can continue with Google, so we're just gonna do that. Just gonna do it in another window real quick, so you guys don't see my password. And Google account. Is there a Helium console app on the phone? So I'm not sure about that, to be honest. So I've so far only focused on the mining part and not on the device part. Okay, I've read the agreement. Yeah, organization. Do I need an I need an organization. Okay, so we're gonna call that one. And add organization. Please refrain from using special characters. Okay, add organization. So with that, we have an account on the Helium console. There is no app for that. Okay, get started. Show this screen every time I log in. Nope. Devices, and let's see. Is there a add new label? Add new device. Okay, there we go. Import from the Things network. Drag CSV. Okay, that's gonna be device name. Okay, definitely sure. Okay, we're gonna go back here to the previous guide, add and manage devices. Okay, it just takes us there, so there's no guide. And add devices. Okay, now if we look back, where did we have it? There it is. We don't need that anymore. And okay, so description, user info, operation. Yeah, that doesn't help us. Messages, label, QR, import, warnings, notice, regular configuration. Yeah, that also does not help us. That's honestly right now a little bit of a bummer because there is no booklet that explains it. We only have the QR code on the back. We have the serial number, and other than that, learn more about adding devices. Okay, potentially lays. Nope. Okay. MerryIot add device to Helium console. Yeah. So yeah, that adding devices, but there's nothing from MerryIot. That doesn't help. That we don't need right now. Then we have the brochure and the guide. Oh, that's really a bummer right now. Blah, blah, blah. Profile, we have none. Attach a label. Can I change that just out of curiosity? Yeah, so I could change that. Yeah, so, but where do I get the device EUI and app EUI? So that's kind of like, let's search here, dev, what was it, EU? I don't want to sign in, like I just want to search dev EUI. So is there something like that in the document? No, do we have dev? Okay, yeah, that we have, but EUI. Ah, there we go. Dev EUI, user hexadecimal interpretation with, wait, what? All QR code. Okay, label information. All QR code, the total maximum resulting character. Yeah, but how? Obviously, I cannot scan the QR code from my computer. So, there's a separate app. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah, never mind. Well, switching back here, so my mistake. Thankfully, my wife saved me. So, iPhone, back we go. Dashcam, back we go. So we need the sensor app. I opened up the wrong app apparently. Really my bad. However, still, Risto, if you're watching this, add some information to the product pages, please, that for people like me, and maybe print the flyer that you add into the box as well. Okay, so here we have invites, delete account, sign out. So I'm logged in. Okay, enable login with biometrics. That's always nice. And then there we go, back. And then we can say plus, access to the camera. Well, that makes it easier. Scan the QR code. Yeah, leak detection and start. Name, yeah, leak detection. Yeah. Location basement. That's already nice. So it's probably the only location I created. Yep. So there we go. Sorry, I forgot to press the iPhone button. I pushed the wrong button. Really my bad. You guys missed now the opening of the app. But basically, yeah, I'm gonna complete this real quick. And then toggle desk cam. And toggle again. There we go. So basically, I just took the sensor and basically I just pressed plus in the, there we go. So MerryIot sensor app and there plus, and then used it to scan the sensor and then just entered basically what I wanted it to do. Now, how do you turn that one on? In that case, leak detection, device log, location, last uplink. That was now in that thing here. There we had the how to put it into certain things. So operation 5, press the button. What button? Like there are only, there's a button on top. Yeah, I'm an idiot. So basically, does it have an LED or something to indicate that it's on? There's an LED on top. Okay. Once the sensor joins the network, the LED will keep on for 3 seconds and send an uplink. Okay, so technically we should then eventually, with some delay, I mean, maybe not too much of a delay, but with a little bit delay in the app, then see a signal. Yeah, like I'm just gonna leave that here. And then I said the open close thing was the next one that I wanted to set up, where we have the QR code on the side. So I'm gonna press plus here. We're gonna scan the QR code and it recognizes as a MerryIot open and close sensor. I'm actually need my tools to put the batteries in. So toolbox here. Yeah, guys cannot see it, but toolbox, and we need a small bit, probably that one. Yep, that one fits. And just to remove that screw here and put it on my mat so it doesn't get lost, and remove the thing and then check plus and minus and plus and minus so they both go in the same way. which is a little bit unusual. Usually you would have them vice versa, but if they want them like this. And yeah, and on the app, we can press the start button and then actually, yeah, like put the screw back in and then continue the setup on the app. And yeah, don't need, yeah, might need that for another device. So, and that would be open, close, sensor, and it also goes into the basement. So next. And then for that open close sensor, there is probably no, or there's also a button. I don't, there's also an LED. Okay, so far so good. We can see it's blinking now. Maybe it stopped blinking now. So we have that complete. And that thing is also now complete. And now we actually already have data. Do we have data? It says connected, and we can get the humidity and the temperature, which it says 45 degrees, 45% relative humidity, and 23 degrees. And now I can actually, if I open our Aware app and we go back here, living room, and the Aware is actually way back at the other side of the room. But yeah, that probably checks out. And device log, what does it show us? I'm gonna toggle the desk cam for now. Oh, again, wrong button. Yeah, so probably have to put those buttons separately. So iPhone, and there we go. So that's what I wanted. So we see battery sufficient. So we see the different data over time. Yeah, so there's only one entry now, and then the open close sensor says tempered, which means open, I guess. And if I toggle, yeah, open the back here to get the magnet that is the counterpart. I assume it's a magnet that also has adhesive tape on the back. And then just wonder, I probably should read the instructions to be fair, where the counterpart should go. So if it goes like here, let's try that. And we refresh the app, then it doesn't show tempered anymore. Now, if I remove that, it might have a delay as said, because obviously it's using Helium Network, which might take a moment. So okay, it doesn't say tempered, but we can see that there's a door open icon in the overview. So the tempered icon was separately because I probably opened it. Now, if we put that back up here and wait a moment and keep refreshing. Yeah, it still says open, but again, I might have the wrong position. So I'm going to check in the product descriptions actually real quick. So in that user manual, technical specification, no, user manual, there we go. Keep refreshing. So is there a picture that indicates where the second part's supposed to go? Nah. Okay, that thing also should have a bus alarm. So like, do we have some settings here? Open, close, description, buzzer, temper detection. Okay, that we have. Device lock should probably just show. Okay, that shows all devices. The door was open. The door was closed. And so that's the buzzer here on the side. But then on which side do we have the... It's a little dirty here, not sure from what. On which side do we have the... Why am I not seeing this? So let's check. Once the sensor, the LED will keep on and send an uplink. User can press the buttons to try to join the network again. On default, the device will immediately send a message anytime there is a transition, and buzzer alarm option on the below event. Open to close, close to open, temper detection. So temper detection would actually be tilt. interesting. So let's see if that, yeah, I'm like, user can press the button to send a test message. So there is a button on the side that I can press. And if I press that, the device will send messages saying it has been inactive for 6 hours, while in default mode, the device will flash the LED 3 times within 100 milliseconds only when the user presses the test button. Okay, so let's switch back here, toggle. So if I press the test button, yeah, it flashes the button, or it flashed the, okay, no, there's a probably, yeah, so it flashes 3 times, and yeah, there's the markings. So the markings also could be better. So if we look really, really close, not sure if the camera will actually capture that, you see that there's some half circle and there's the counterpart of it. So that should probably be the closed state. So if I have it like this, it should count as closed. Again, with some delay. Yeah, now we can see in the app that the icon changed to door closed. And then again, we check, we have the buzzer enabled. So if we go to the settings, we see the buzzer is enabled. And if I now basically remove it, we don't have a buzzer. But it shows that the door is open. Actually, yeah, the next refresh already. And now put the sensor thingy back. And it shows it closed. Now I'm not sure why the buzzer is not working. We're going to try to disable it. Updating. Please press the button on the sensor and wait a moment. So, okay, press the button. And wait a moment. Does it then show us when it's done here, or? Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, so switching for here right now, to be fair, so, well, obviously the mistake was me using the wrong app, but definitely some kind of leaflet with like, hey, scan this QR code to get the right app to get started would be nice. And then the sensors themselves, while I obviously like the idea of having open close sensor and water sensor and so on in our basement as well, they could do with a little bit more of like a minor user manual. Hey, to get started, hold that button for 3 seconds. Yeah. And yeah, so that's what I'm missing. Other than that, I like the devices. As said, we are probably going to use the water sensor that, if I circle back real quick, has, as you can see, some contacts up here and also contacts at the bottom. And basically, when those contacts get wet, it should then tell us, okay, hey, there has been a water alert. Yeah. Now, how and where you integrate that whole thing, so where you put that, and also how you set up the notifications is a different matter that we will not tackle in today's live stream, to be honest. But overall, yeah, so like, I think, let's see if, will that update or does it update? I mean, I already pressed the button, or maybe just shortly pressing it is not enough. So let's try. So I pressed it a little longer. So I basically just try to turn off the buzzer. Let's go back here and go back to settings. Okay, now turn it on again. So yeah, now I'll press the button. And yeah, so there is no finish message apparently. So it's just then you press the button and it even shows that I pressed the button, yeah. And then the buzzer should be on, which means now if I remove it, there we go. Sorry for the annoying noise. But basically now we have a door open close sensor that we can use on our basement door with, what does it say? Door open close sensor, battery life of up to 5 years. That we can use to get notified. Now, personally, since most of our stuff is using Apple HomeKit, I already checked. There is actually an integration for Apple Home Bridge. So I should be able, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I should be able to also get the sensors data into my Apple HomeKit to actually see them like I would see other Apple smart devices. And then again, because it uses Helium Network, LoRaWAN, I do not need Wi-Fi for it. I can use it in our basement, but also if we were, for example, we would have the option to rent a garage for our car. but it's not in the house, but it would be 100 meters and away from the building with no separate electricity, Wi-Fi, whatever there. So that would also be a place where I would then say, okay, yeah, let's put an open door sensor there, so I get notified if somebody opens the garage door without it being us. Yeah. So yeah, but let's sum this up for today. So I mean, before we sum up, let's circle back real quick. So basically, now you know, when you saw two of the sensors that you get with the starter package that heliummart.com offers right now. Again, it really depends on your specific situation, if it makes sense for you or not, if you have a use case for those sensors or not. You might not need all of them. Some of them are nice, but at the end of the day, the deal overall is really, really great if you consider that you also get a Helium hotspot with the whole package, and that Helium hotspot in the very, very near future, probably a couple of weeks, worst case couple of months, will be enabled for multi-mining, which then allows you to actually earn more with that hotspot. Now, why is the phone still visible? Why did that not work? Let's try this again. Okay, now it worked. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, so while the Helium token value right now is obviously relatively low, as we saw on CoinMarketCap, considering the upcoming more and more deployment of IoT devices that use LoRaWAN, there should be more data credits that get used constantly or consistently, that then in the end will mean that you will actually end up earning more, or that not earning more, but yeah, earning more from data credits if your hotspot is the one that transmits the data, but also that potentially the value of Helium should then increase again. Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things where you have a one-time investment, in this case for the hotspot and some devices that you can use yourself, and then in turn that device generates you some crypto. How long it takes to make your money back varies hugely depending on where your hotspot is located, how many other hotspots there are, how many IoT devices actually are using Helium Network already in your area, and a million other things. But at the end of the day, I feel like Helium is one of the crypto projects that has a real use case and is relatively early. Yes, the early wave of super high earnings was back then when basically the first 100,000 hotspots were there and the proof of coverage rewards were insanely high, combined with an insanely high value. But I still believe that there is a decent chance for Helium Network in 5 to 10 years from now to be one of the cryptos that's really sports a decent value. Overall, that's it for today. I would say we already are like going towards the 1 hour mark. Sorry for my being too little prepared and opening the wrong app and then getting frustrated about it initially. Thankfully, Rena saved us here. Overall, I hope you were able to take away like some of the potential use cases, learn a little bit more about Helium Network, and are maybe now considering getting a hotspot yourself if you don't have one already. As said, you can find links to that package probably, or not only probably, but in the pinned chat message and in the description down below at Helium Mart. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, and last but not least, don't forget, if you want to learn more about Helium Network from somebody that's way more involved in it, so I'm keeping track of a lot of projects, which means I'm sometimes missing a few things, whereas the AMA that we have in, I think, 2 weeks from now, just check the channel. It's there as scheduled, upcoming live, with Risto, the CEO and founder of heliummart.com, who operates 600 to 800 hotspots with his business right now. That's the place to be to get your answers about Helium Network that I currently cannot answer. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. See you